Well, I'm Simon Scholes. I am the founder and creative director of Perception Studios. We're an award-winning visual marketing agency, and we help brands and businesses create content that helps them stand out on their social media. That could be video content, animation, aerial work, photography, graphics, all sorts of different types of thing. And what we do is we take them through the whole creative process, so from beginning to the end and everything else that goes in between as well. However, a few years ago, became quite obvious to me after my dad had passed away. I wanted to leave more of a legacy. I wanted to help more people because that's something that he had done, which I hadn't even known about. So I wanted to be more prevalent about it. I wanted to be more honest about it, show people that I'm doing it. So I want to try and help as many people as humanly possible get onto that content creation journey. So many people can be making content, but they're not. And the reason why is a lot of people use time as an excuse, or I don't know what I'm going to be talking about as an excuse. And so I want to help them overcome that. And that's why I came up with the How to 9 Times Your Social Media process. I turned it into a former #1 book, which you can download for free right now. In the section below, there is a link. Go and click on it, download the book for nothing, and takes you through the whole process I take all my clients through, where very generically, you start planning and you end up with a podcast and everything else that happens in between. We're going to talk about chemicals today, and these are legal chemicals as well, because it is National Take Your Dog to Work Day, and it got me thinking a little bit more about the fact that a lot of people wonder why animal content works so well. So what happens in your brain when you're consuming social media? Loads of chemicals are getting released, and the question is what chemicals are getting released that you kind of want to try and release yourself with your own content. So the first one is dopamine, and that's basically emotion. So we all know people buy on emotion. Nobody buys on the spur of a moment without any element of emotion tied into that. Be it even buying a pair of trainers or a t-shirt, there's still a level of emotion, whether that emotion is I desire to have that item or I really like that. There is still a level of emotion in there. And that's essentially what dopamine is. You're trying to release an element of dopamine with your social media content. And you're also trying to release oxytocin as well, because that is like the kissing and hugging, cuddling chemical. When you give somebody a hug or a kiss, oxytocin is released in the body, makes you feel good. And again, that is tied back into emotion. So I want to talk to you about the fact that your content needs to be drawing into people's emotions. But how do you do that? Why would you do that? Well, the point of the fact is that you need to be looking at making your content remove a pain point for people. This is why I always go on about give people value. Because if you are a voice of authority in your area of expertise, whatever that might be, if you can help remove any element of pain for that person. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm hurting because somebody's pinching me or I've got a knife in my back or anything like that. I mean a level of pain as in business. So the stress levels of not knowing how to do your own accounts or bookkeeping, or the stress levels of not understanding social media, that pain point that you can help remove just a little bit could help them become a member of your tribe. They may never have the money to spend with you. That's not the end of the world, because they become a member of your tribe. They might share your content. They'll talk about you to other people. And because of the service and the value that you've given them across social media, there's a really good chance they'll recommend you when somebody else is looking for somebody of that expertise. It happened to me recently. Somebody was looking for a video editor, a guy who runs an incredible app company, Darren Galvin. He recommended me to somebody else, did some work with them. That's going to be an ongoing relationship, which is fantastic. And I cannot thank Darren enough for that. But the only reason Darren knows that is because of my social media and what I do on social media and the content I've put out. Now, Darren may never, ever use me as a customer. He may never use me to do video work, but he's happily recommended me to somebody else because he knows I can deliver. And so you need to be thinking about the same thing across your social media. What value can you give to people that will help remove that pain point for them? We all buy services or recommend services even on that emotion. Why would you recommend somebody? Well, they're good at what they do. But how do you know if they're good at what they do? Because I've put this content out and I liked it and it helped me. So I really like them. So I reckon you're going to like them as well, because you've got the same ethics as me and they've got the same ethics as me. So you're going to work well together. Do you see what I'm saying? You're trying to really connect to people on an emotional level. You're trying to release that dopamine and that oxytocin with every piece of content that you put out. That's why you don't want to be constantly selling to people, because it just puts people off. They just stand off and they're just like, it's really not connecting with me. Now, if you create a piece of content, especially for social media advertising, and you put money behind it, people know what to expect. They know it's going to be an advert. But if you can connect to them emotionally and remove that pain point of theirs through that advert as well, then you're onto a real winner. But that's where coming to somebody like us or any creative agency near you really comes in, because that person and that team will take you through the whole process and help you understand what content is going to work, what's going to connect with the audience, and why it's going to connect with them. So what I want you to leave this broadcast from today, when we finish, is the fact that you are going to start thinking more about how can you remove a pain point with each piece of content that you put out. Now, everybody has lots of different tangents they can go off with their subject matter. So think about those and start thinking about removing those pain points. Help give value. Don't just necessarily try to sell. It's nice to try and sell because obviously it's the obvious thing to do to try and bring business in. But organic growth on social media does not happen through you selling all the time. You have to give value. You have to give that human emotion. You have to give that human element even to your content. Be it putting you in it, or you in photographs, or your podcast, or your videos, whatever it might be, you have to put a level of you into your content so that people will get drawn into it and get the value from it. So whatever that might be, you could be, I don't know, for example, an artist. So if you're an artist, take people through the story of why you created that particular piece of art. What was it that gave you inspiration? Why did that give you inspiration? What element of it did you then put into your artwork? Why did that element work so well? All those kind of things are behind the scenes of the human emotion that will connect people to your artwork and then put your artwork out for people to consume. People buy emotions. Dopamine and oxytocin, the two chemicals you're trying to release with your social media content. I don't ever really get scientific with stuff, but I thought this was quite an interesting subject matter, especially on Take Your Dogs to Work Day. So that's why animal content works so well, because animal content releases both those chemicals. You watch the content and it maybe gives you a laugh. I was playing a video of a cat trying to get down a Pringles tube yesterday to Max. He was wetting himself. He thought it was hilarious. But that's releasing those chemicals. He's got that emotional connection to that then. And then when it stopped, the video stopped, he wanted to watch it again and again and again because he's drawn into it, that emotional connection. And all you're trying to do is do the same thing with your content. That's why animal content works well. And that's why your content potentially doesn't, but can do. You just need to suss out what is going to release those chemicals for your content. And it's maybe not going to release it as powerfully as a really cute kitten or a nice puppy dog falling over on a kitchen floor. But you can still help remove the pain point for that person and help release some of that chemical reaction that will help them draw into your content and into you specifically on an emotional level. Okay, hopefully you got some value there.